Hello and welcome to Cupcake Addiction's Princess Crown Sugar Cookie Decorating Tutorial, where I'm going to show you how to decorate these stunning and really simple little Princess Crown sugar cookies. If you haven't already checked out my channel, My Cupcake Addiction, make sure you have a look at my princess playlist. We've got all sorts of cupcakes, cake pops, giant cupcakes, everything you need to get your princess party absolutely sorted. The things that you'll need for today's video, I've got my Princess Crown cookies, so I'll be showing you how to cut and cook those today using our basic sugar cookie recipe. I will leave a link to that basic sugar cookie recipe in the description box below. Today I'm using some lemon curd, so you can use any sort of a sticky substance. You could use a jam or a jelly, or you could use something like Nutella. It's just something so that your fondant will stick to your actual biscuit base. I've got a bit of corn flour. I've got two different types of heart sprinkles. So I've got some jumbo Wilton heart sprinkles and then just some regular sized. I've got some little white pearl sprinkles, some plain tap water. I've got a couple of paintbrushes, a sharp knife, a fondant rolling pin. I've got a little bit of pearl or white luster or shimmer powder. I've got some pink fondant. You can also use modelling chocolate, and my Princess Crown cookie cutter, the same one that I've used today to cut out those cookies. You'll also need a batch of our sugar cookie mix, recipe link below, a little bit of plain flour for rolling out, an offset spatula, a rolling pin, and you'll also need a cookie tray lined with greaseproof paper and a cooling rack. So let's get started. Now the first thing you want to do when your cookie dough comes out of the fridge, you just want to knead it so that it's nice and pliable, and then you want to sprinkle down a good amount of that plain flour, and we're just going to roll out the cookie dough. Make sure you have plenty of flour both on the top and the bottom. You want to roll it out and keep the cookie dough moving so that it doesn't stick to your surface, but you're basically looking for an even thickness of about this thick. Take your Princess Crown cutter and cut out several of those crown shapes. So you'll notice I sort of jiggle the cutter back and forward. That's to give it a really nice, neat cut. You want to lay those all out on your greaseproof paper or your baking paper on that cookie tray. They're going to go off into the oven and they're going to cook really quickly, about 7 to 10 minutes. You'll know they're done when the edges are slightly golden brown, so very carefully use your offset spatula or a knife just to carefully pick them up and pop them onto that cooling rack, and you don't want to try to work with these until they have completely cooled. Sprinkle down a little bit of your corn flour and just press out your pink fondant or modelling chocolate, and then you want to roll that out using your fondant roller till it's really nice and thin. Your princess cookie cutter is going to be used once again just to cut out some little princess crown shapes, and once again I'm shaking it back and forward for that really nice even cut around the edges. Using your paintbrush, you just want to spread the entire outside of your cookie, but not quite all the way to the edges, with your lemon curd or your jam, whatever the sticky substance is that you're using. Once you've got a really nice coating, pick up one of your little princess crowns, and it should be pretty much exactly the same size as the cookie, because the recipe I give you doesn't allow for any shrinkage or any stretching. So you just want to use your fingers now to go right the way around the edges. Flatten down your fondant onto your cookie, but really make sure that you're kind of just molding that fondant in so that it's meeting up absolutely perfectly with the outside line edges of your cookie. I love this cookie recipe. I've never had a problem with it. It gives me perfect decorated cookies every time. Take your luster dust now, and you'll notice my paintbrush here, it's dry, but it's also a really kind of a flat, fluffy kind of a brush. I like to put a bit of that luster dust into the lid and work with it out of the lid, because you don't want to put too much on or it'll end up streaky. I'm just using circular motions with that nice, dry, fluffy paintbrush just to brush on the luster, and you can see the difference there between the lustered and the non-lustered. Taking your water now, you just want to apply a tiny dot of water to the tip of each of your crown points. And then you're going to take one of those edible sugar pearls and pop them into each of those tips. Make sure that you push them down nicely into the fondant so they're sitting in as neatly as they can be. A little bit more water on the very front row center. Position your little love heart before you go pushing it down. So make sure that you're happy that it's centered before you go pushing it down. Another little small love heart sprinkle right below that top pearl in the very center of the top of the crown. And then another little sugar pearl with a tiny dab of water just underneath that heart. A small love heart sprinkle on either side of the larger heart, and that is your super simple Princess Crown cookie ready to go. You can make these up to 3 days in advance. You can make that cookie dough a couple of days before that. So they're a really great way to have your party favors ready ahead of time for the party. I hope you guys have loved this tutorial. As always, thanks very much for tuning in to My Cupcake Addiction.